we do not have so many Peters. So we put a lot of effort into didactic learning culture designs, ideas how we can enable people to develop some of these qualities without Peter or Bernd being there.
Yes.
Do you do that as well?
Yes, I am. Well, like you, I've set up several training schools and with others in various fields and associations. And I try always, as soon as other people get to the point where they're teaching as well as I can, and even go to something that there aren't people yet teaching. So I always try and move on and try and leave like you, I believe that teaching doesn't reside in a teacher. It resides, like leadership, it requires teachers, learners, a shared need.
A whole culture.
And too much teaching comes from people wanting to put things out there before they've created the learning hunger.
Yeah.
And so, like you, I believe we need, part of our job is not to be teachers, but enablers of learning processes and learning communities. And that's what I like about what you're doing here at INOC. That you're not just creating models and theories and putting those out on the internet. You're not just creating good andragogy, learning dialogic processes and instilling those into the training, but you're then creating communities of learning.
Right. And equipment for these communities that they can develop themselves.
Yes.
And they are not
sustaining processes.
Yes, and they are not so much restricted to genius people like you. I do not mean it genius I mean heroes who are able through their person to bring this quality in. We really try to find out what can we do to build up a didactic processes, structures, IT instruments that transports this quality of this Weimar Romantic in a very down-to-earth, reality-oriented way. And I certainly there are qualities that cannot be achieved without somebody focusing like you.
I like this question.
But still there's a big range, because otherwise the impact is not broad enough.
The problem comes, right? If you look at the history of religion, and most religions start with a charismatic teacher, whether it's the Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, or modern teachers. And then what happens is they create either dogma, or they create process of meditation, the Brahma Viharas in Buddhism, or Sufi zikr.
Yeah.
And these are very important because these are learning processes.
They transport culture.
They transport culture. The problem is that the Bibles and the processes become idolized. They become ends in themselves.
Yeah.
So if you take that, I don't want to say we're starting religions, Bernd, but if you take the analogy,
absolutely,
how do we create
we try
learning processes and learning communities that are constantly co-evolving?
Yeah, I confess that I want to build up a church here, but not a dogmatic one. A church, you need structure, you need cultural habits, you need things that everybody knows about, And it's important that it's not replacing the spirit and the creativity. And that certainly that's a problem that is 1,000 years old. And we are again struggle with it.
You know the lovely Buddhist saying, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. Well, I don't think that goes far enough. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him, eat him.
Eat him, yeah.
Because there is something.
Yeah,
about,
that's the archetypal integration.
Yeah,
and make use of it.
You know, part of all the questions I ask the leaders when we're doing this research, CEOs, I say, you know, what would be your best advice to a leader of tomorrow?
Yeah.
A young leader who's going to be stepping into leadership.
Yeah.
And they, you know, a lot of them will say to me, go out and find someone good to learn from.
Yeah.
Go and find somebody who's an inspiration, but also go and find people who you say, I don't want to be like that, the negative role models, but learn from that person, but be yourself. Don't hate them. Take what you need from them, but eat it.
Yeah.
Eat them, turn it into, you know.
I agree to everything you say, and still a bit maybe.
But the same with the processes.